Stephen. A lot to digest there. Not for when you were looking for, couldn't score, but plenty of opportunities. What were your biggest takeaways from the game?
I loved the first half. I thought we were great. I thought it was nice football. So we created some good chances, just took the wrong option. We need to understand when to speed things up, when to slow things down, but I thought the combinations were nice. I think maybe we could have gambled a little bit more, just been a tad braver. That's probably my only critique, but 66% possession in the first half, 260 something passes in the first half. So lots of box entries I thought were good. But the goal didn't come, and I obviously knew that with Ante having four forwards on the bench that they were going to roll the dice at us pretty late, and then it became very transitional in the second half. I didn't particularly enjoy the second half. Not because we didn't play well, we were gutsy, but we lost control of the game. Still had some decent chances. I thought Lincoln had a good chance. I thought Gabby probably, there's a couple there she should have been braver with. Susan and Emma were popping up in good spots. There was 3 penalty shouts. I think the third one definitely has to be a pen. That probably is something that would have been nice. But I think maybe they could have had one as well. So yeah, there's probably 4 penalties in that game, and there were none given. I'll keep quiet about that one. But then they could have definitely scored late. So I'm very proud of the girls that they stuck to their guns there. A couple of crucial clearances. Teresa Morrissey just, mate, unbelievable. With all that pressure and all those people climbing on top of her, and she just comes out brave as and takes the ball. So I'm super proud of her. I'm proud of the girls for sticking to it, not dropping their heads, and in the end we'll take a point and we'll consolidate.
That penalty you felt like should have been given back was a Badawea one at the end?
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I thought it was a penalty, but...
Well, I mean, she gets across the defender, like you teach your players to get across the defender there to invite the contact. She's about to score the winning goal in the game and gets taken out. So for me, I don't know, which defender was it? Was it Timoth?
I thought it was Sarah Hunter.
Yeah, so then, is that a yellow card, a second yellow and then a red? Yeah, there's lots of possibilities. But, we'll. I don't think it's the referee's fault. I think we need to be putting the referees in more situations where they're handling situations like that. I think she seemed afraid to blow the whistle with those pens, and then unfortunately, I think they lost control of the game at the end of the game there with the whole Grace Johnston hair pull. Grace ends up getting a yellow card for getting her hair pulled. So.
You said coming into this, it was a must-win game. Obviously, it's a good performance despite the lack of 3 points. Does it just set up this next block of 3 games as, potentially season-defining?
Well, I mean, every game is now season-defining. We've got 7 games to go. So it's crunch time. Wellington away probably doesn't get it more difficult for us. That's the biggest. It's the biggest travel in world football, so it's going to be pretty tough. But we get a fair few days up our sleeve there. We've beaten them here, so there's no reason why we can't beat them again. It's just about making sure that we go there in good spirits and have plenty of energy. And every game's crucial.
We commented to Ante that we thought the first 10, maybe 15 minutes of both halves, the ascendancy seemed to be with Sydney. In the first half, with the wind at your back, it did look as if you had fallen into the usual trap of going long, going early. But as you grew into that half, the ball seemed to be played much quicker on the deck. Was that some instruction that you'd given that, or the players have just now started to really click into that? Because the movement of the ball in the first half was excellent, and the speed of the movement was excellent as well, and it really caused them a lot of trouble.
Well, look, we're developing our game. And I think the thing that's let us down is that final piece. So if you break the game into the 3/3, you know, I think us going from back to middle third is pretty competent. And then we're now starting to get into really good positions from middle third to front third. So that's now, what do you do when you get in that front third and the opposition's got bodies behind the ball? So it's been a good challenge for us. And today I thought we were much better with that. I think there was probably an element of nerves at the start. That's probably what that was. And I think Sydney, probably there was an element of surprise on how they approached the game at the start. But then once the game wore on, the pictures that we worked on for the 2 sessions that we had were there. I was really proud of the girls for recognising that and playing a good style of football. I think the only thing that was missing was the goal. I will give Sydney credit. Not a lot of teams have outstatted us defensively. They edged us in those stats. So I checked it after the game. So particularly the duels, I thought they were very good with that. So that was definitely a strength of theirs. And I think it might be their 6th clean sheet, maybe 7. So they're pretty competent defensively. And I mentioned that in my pre-game presser. So you've just really you've got to score and then invite them to come and play, right? The longer the game stays at 0-0, it really suits the style that Ante's got them playing. So, you know, they had a 0-0 draw against Adelaide, they had a 0-0 draw against Melbourne Victory, and they've had a 0-0 draw against us in very recent succession. So, it's a tough one, but, you know, nice to see Hannah Lowry out there. That's good. So that one had a little chat to her after the game. It's nice to see her back, and that's her first time playing against Glory. So I'm sure that was an interesting moment for her. All eyes onto Wellington now.
Yeah, that is looming as a crucial game. But looking at the table and how tight it is, the goal difference now is looking difficult for you with a negative goal difference. So getting back to that fundamental issue of sticking the ball in the back of the net, is that your key concern now going forward for the rest of the season?
I think the most important thing for us is that whilst we're not free-flowing scoring, we've got to be really tight defensively. That way we're taking the pressure off our attackers. We're only asking them to score 1, maybe 2 to win the game. If we're getting overzealous and frustrated that we're not scoring and then we're opening up and then conceding goals, I think that's when we'll have issues. So we have to keep games tight and we just have to ice our chances. And I think if you can take points in 3s in this league, you're just going to climb the table very quickly. So in the end, it's not the worst point to get because at least we've accumulated a point in a very congested table and it keeps Sydney down below us. So I think that's crucial, and we'll just continue to fight. We want to make the top 6. We feel like if we make the top 6, we'll be good value, and that's the goal. And we've got 7 games to achieve it.
Just a quick one on the midfield today. It felt like that was perhaps the best version of it we've seen for a while. For Dalton won a lot of 50-50 balls. Tovar just really drove you guys forward. I mean, interjecting Susan into the middle for a spell seemed to kind of seemed to help a bit. And then just a word on Nat Tatham as well, coming back from an ACL, who just added a bit of physicality.
Yeah, I feel like the 4 of Dalton, Emma, Susan, and Sarah is a fantastic 4 players technically to have linked in with each other. And I think there was good moments out there for everyone to see that tonight. And, you know, if we score one of those chances in the first half, I think it's great. So we've got to continue to develop that. You know, I think we managed not having McKenna in the team pretty well tonight. That's probably something that hasn't been spoken about. You know, Tian did win Player of the Month last month. And not having her, I think Misha stepped up. Tough game for her, you know. So for her to step into that was good. I thought Zog was excellent. And Nat coming into a game of that transitional nature in the second half is extremely difficult, but I think that just tells you everything about her. She just wants to compete. And then to top it off goes in centre back for the last 10 minutes. So a nice sigh of relief in that. And then hopefully we grow her minutes now and she can give us something moving into these crucial games as you spoke about.